Welcome to a wonderful episode of the Perspective Podcast. Today we have Kat on the show.
Hello.
Thank you so much for tuning in. In today's episode, we're going to be covering the topics of death, purpose, path, and instant gratification. All right, Kat, let's talk about some experiences that shaped you.
Okay, so if we're talking about like past stuff where everything started, I feel like we should start childhood. Like
Let's start.
always the key point to a lot of things.
It is.
So my mom passed away when I was 4 years old, 4.5, very
wow.
tragically.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's been a long time. So she passed away when I was really young. I'm lucky I had great family, great like community around. So I had a lot of support, but at that young age, you don't really know what's going on, you know,
Right.
that kind of thing. It didn't really hit me until I was in high school. And one of my childhood friends committed suicide,
Oh, wow.
second day of sophomore year.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
that was like a little bit of a life-changing incident that happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry about that as well.
thank you. So I didn't really start dealing with my mom's understanding death until that kind of happened. And then they don't really nobody gives you the tools on how to handle that. It was kind of like, okay, this happened. There was no guidance. And all my friends obviously were in the same boat, you know, and you kind of go back to your normal life, I guess you would say. I threw myself into sports, working out, that kind of thing. So that's why I do what I do, I guess you would say.
So let's rewind just a little bit after that.
Yeah.
So after the passing of your friend,
Yeah.
that's when death started, like the understanding of death started to hit you, or that's when like the emotions started to,
The emotions
and you
of,
started to avoid.
yeah, like dealing with it. Like I didn't really know how to process it and understanding like the why in a sense. Like there has to be a why. Like why would this person pass away so young? Why would this person pass away so young? It was like a not understanding of what exactly was happening.
Right.
And back then, I feel like it's more prevalent now. There's a lot more guidance and, you know, therapies and things that you would do to process things. Back then, it wasn't really like a common, I guess, thing, you know? They didn't have grief counselors. It was like they announced it over the loudspeaker at school and then you went about your day.
Right.
Like, so that was interesting too. It wasn't until I was in my 20s, I was moved from California to Florida. Started working a job down there, and I had finished school at that time. Started working this job and I started to get it back into working out. I was like, I have to get back and work. I've been like kind of depressed, like kind of still dealing with the passing of my mom and then my friend, and still kind of like not feeling grounded, I guess you would say. Figuring out what I want to do with my life, get this job, start working out, start kickboxing, because I needed to put like my emotions into something. I was like very angry, you know.
And how many years have passed?
I was 15, I think, when he passed. 20. I was 23 or 23 when I moved to Florida, so I'd say about 23. So
8 years.
8 years. Walk into this kickboxing gym, and immediately I was like, this is my place. I'm going to work out here. Second day I was there, I see this girl who I was like, she was just like beautiful. Her body, everything about her, like her spirit just seemed like authentic. I'm the type of person, like I'm very open. So I go and introduce myself. I compliment her and we start talking. We immediately get like super close. She's about 10 years older than me. I'm like, I want to look like her. I want to be like her. Like this is like,
Why do I feel like something's about to happen to her?
So yeah, so nothing happened to her directly, but we got really close. And getting close in that period of time, she divulged to me that she was in like a very abusive relationship with her husband. She had 2 children from a previous marriage, and she needed to have the courage to leave. And being friends with me and seeing how like strong I was and I'm like, I feel like I'm a kid. I'm like, I don't know how you feel like I'm strong, but okay. Like she was like, I'm gonna leave, you know? So, and this had to be like planned out. Like it was like a very mentally and physically abusive relationship. So she had to leave like in the middle of the night kind of thing. So I was like, well, I'll help you. Like, you know, I have no problem doing that. And so, go there, help her pack and everything. She gets into this apartment.
What was happening when it's like in the relationship? What type of?
A lot of physical abuse,
He
a
was
lot
just
of
hitting
like
her?
a lot of mental abuse, a lot of physical abuse. There was like so many incidents that had happened like over the years. And her previous marriage wasn't abusive, it just didn't work out. And she had those two kids from that previous marriage. One was six, 16 and the other one was 12
Hmm.
at the time. She just was like, I have to leave this situation. Like, I can't be in this anymore. And financially, it was a good position for her to be in with him because he was kind of like, the breadwinner. But in the time that we became friends, she started to like open herself up to like getting her finances together and like getting her strength to like leave. So it was a planned thing. So we get her out of the house that morning. She moves into an apartment down the street, and I go to work. So I go to work. I'm working my shift. I'm like working a 8 to 4 a.m. shift at the Hard Rock Casino in Hollywood. So it happened to be that my manager came in. She never lets anybody leave early, and she's like, "If you want to go home, it's dead. Like, go." And I was like, "Okay, that's weird, but all right, I'll leave." So I drive home. I get home, and for some reason, like I couldn't sleep. I'm like, I can't. I'm just gonna like do stuff. I'm gonna clean my house. I get a phone call at 1:30 in the morning from her, and she's like, "You got to come to the hospital. My son got in a car accident." So I'm like, I just had this like major anxiety. So I drive to the hospital, get there, and I know death. So I've experienced, been around death, obviously, in my previous experiences. I kind of know how things work if somebody has passed in a sense. But this was like a very different situation. So they take us into it's like a cafeteria. And we're in this cafeteria. There was other kids in the car, so it wasn't just her son. There was 4 kids in the car, 3 and him. So we get into the cafeteria. Her parents are there. I've met her parents. Like, we've become really close in these past like 3, 4 months. And her daughter's there, and the other families are there. So we're kind of just waiting around to hear what's going on. And from my perspective, I'm like, this just doesn't seem right because you're going into the room to see your kid if something like, unless they're doing surgery. Like, they didn't give us any information. So there was no like, he's getting surgery. There was no like communication whatsoever. So we're kind of just waiting around, and they have a table set up of like waters and food and kind of stuff. So I walk over the table. I'm like dying of thirst. I start drinking the waters, and I'm like, oh, this tastes terrible. Like, this water is bad. And I was like saying it out loud. I'm like opening these bottles of water, and they taste like dirt. So I'm throwing them out one by one. And my friend's mom comes over to me, and she's like, you know. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, I know, you know. And I just kept drinking the water, and I'm like trying to figure out why this water tastes terrible. Like, these are closed bottles of water that I'm opening, right? So all of a sudden they start taking like the families out one by one. They take us into like this small, very small room. It's like probably the size of this couch, literally. There's the four of, or there's her daughter, her parents, and me. So there's 5 of us, and then there's a social worker and a police officer, and there's one chair in the room. So actually 2 chairs, one where the social worker sat and the other one where my friend sat. And it's very quick. Like, they're like, we got to inform you your son passed away. He died in a car accident tonight. And it's a soundproof room. I'm realizing this as it's like, so I immediately have this like out of body experience. Like, I'm viewing this from like above everybody. And I'm like, okay, this is like, I'm in complete shock. I mean, everybody's on the floor screaming, crying. And these two, like the social worker and the police officer, are just kind of like standing there, like, we're sorry, and leave the room. And they're like, do you want to see your son? It was like that kind of like the sensitivity part was just gone. So, and you also have a 12-year-old with you that is experiencing this in real time at her age. So it kind of took me back to when I was young, like not knowing how to process that. So obviously I'm next to her, and they don't realize like you're walking into this room, you're going to see your son dead, and you have a 12-year-old with you. So we walk into the room, and he is like, at this point, they had pulled him from the water. He was still alive. So what had happened was the kids were driving. They were going to homecoming dance. They were, smoking pot or whatever, pulled out into an intersection, hit somebody, pulled back into the street because they got afraid, didn't leave the car there, just pulled it back. And they pulled it back in just the right spot where it went past a guardrail, flipped over into a canal. So 3 of them drowned, one kid was able to get out. He doesn't remember how. And then her son, on the impact of the accident, was knocked out. So when he went into the water, he wasn't taking on water like the other kids were. So he wasn't pronounced dead on the scene. They transported him and they were trying to save him on the way to the hospital. So he's fully trached and dirt, mud everywhere, like bloated, obviously been in the water, that kind of thing. We walk in the room and they're like, obviously emotions are like took over. And we walk in, everybody's screaming, crying. The daughter runs out of the room and screaming on the floor, like hysterically crying. All the nurses and doctors are just standing there watching, and I'm like yelling at them like, you need to give her something, because I'm 20 something years old, like I don't know what to do, so I'm holding her on the floor. This was going on for like a good 20-25 minutes, felt like 2 hours. Finally they were like, we need you to leave and like do like go through the process of obviously his whole death thing, and that became obviously the thing afterwards. But that was such a life-changing experience for me, because it was like I experienced these two deaths that were obviously people very close to me, and but this was like a real time, experience. Like this is like you're really experiencing what it's like to watch somebody die, in a really really tragic way. So obviously I after that I basically like moved in with her and stayed with her for like weeks after that happened. And in that process, we we were going to see like all these healers and all these things. Like we're going to church, we're going to like this woman that was recommended to us, like doing this healing and all this stuff. And we went to this one woman and we did this whole, like I was just there to support. And I remember her being like, in a past life, you guys were sisters and that's how you connected in this life. And she was like, you need to leave here. Like, you are not meant to be here. Like, you have a greater purpose in your like healing experience and like what you have to offer in your job. Like, this is not where you're supposed to be. And so I kind of took that and I was like, okay, this is crazy. Like, I love it here. Like, these are my friends are here. I have family here. Like, I'm happy here. And I kind of like was like, well, I kind of have to listen to this. So within 2 weeks of that, I decided to go back to school, and I applied up here to go back to medical school, and got in. And within a month after that, I sold my condo and I left. It
Wow.
was like such like that was, so my mom's death and one of my good friends' death was definitely like a life changing experience, but that one thing, was the reason why I kind of went back and veered toward the path that I'm supposed to be on, in my purpose, I feel like. So to go through that, it was like, this is your purpose now. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Like you had to experience this to be pushed into that direction.
And what direction is that now?
I obviously own a business. I'm an acupuncturist and Chinese medical doctor. So I do that. And I love it. That's like my purpose in life. It took me a while to get there. It was hell to go to medical school. It was definitely like a tough experience to do that. That was another like kind of, I hate to say traumatic, but it was like definitely one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. But I feel like that death pushed me into that path, you know.
You guys still talk?
Oh yeah, we definitely still talk. We're good friends. She ended up having another child with somebody. She's still in Florida. Her daughter is married, has two kids. So like, they're. But every year it comes about where he passed, and it's like I every single moment of that day I have never forgotten. Like every single detail, I just remember every single moment of that time.
Wow.
Because it
I'm so
was,
sorry to the mother.
yeah, I mean, like I can't, me having a child now, I'm like I can't really imagine like ever having to deal with that. Like I don't know how I would survive that in a sense. And her strength was like undeniable. I mean, of course you experience grief for a really long time. It's just
Right.
a different, like you can't even really, like, it's like you could say sorry, but it's like, I mean, what is there really to say? Like the grief was
Right.
crazy. Um, I remember one time when I was staying with her, that it was like, I'm spiritual. I believe in God. I've been raised in the Catholic Church like 100%. But we were in her house one day and she had a dog, and the dog was like just would bark and bark and bark all night long at this one spot. So the next day I wake up and I'm like laughing. I'm like, the dog just will not stop barking. And we were laughing about it. We leave the house for an hour. We come back. All the picture frames are flipped over with all the pictures flipped upside down all over the floor.
That's kind of sketchy.
All over the floor. And there was this one frame that said love on it, and it was like highlighted, like somebody etched it in extra on the frame.
That sounds
And
crazy.
isn't that crazy? And then she would get phone calls, like the phone would ring and ring, and it would just be like static on the other end. And she would hear mom, 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 like on this, like,
That's
it
crazy.
was like I mean, the things that would happen in that apartment were just like, at one point I was like, are you staying here? Like, are we staying? Can I go home now? Like,
Yeah.
and I totally believe in, like, death and heaven and all that stuff. So I totally believe in that there's another side and all that. But to experience that was wild.
Jeez
Like, you
Louise.
you can't change that experience. So that was the one thing that really catapulted me into being up here and like going back to school and
So
doing
you went to
that.
school up here.
Yeah, so I started school in LA, went to school in LA, business. I did product development in like the fashion industry. And then I took a job in LA for a while, moved to Miami, took a job down there, hated it, was like not happy there, wasn't making money, working like 16 hours a day. And a friend of mine was working at the Hard Rock Casino, and I was like, she was making so much money, like six figures, like cocktail waitressing. She's like, just apply. And I was like, well, I don't want to be a cocktail waitress for the rest of my life. She's like, you're 23 years old. Who gives a shit? Like, let's go. So, I worked there for years, bought my condo. Like, I was living like a very happy, normal, I consider normal, like fun life. Like, I was like doing stuff in my 20s that people didn't really get to do at my age. Um, and then I decided to, obviously, when that happened, to leave it all behind and come back up here and
So you
start.
guys, after the passing,
Mm-hmm.
you guys started to do like, like church and all these healing groups you mentioned.
Yeah. So I was always a church girl. Like, I grew up in the church. But I never connect. I was just having a hard time connecting to like the Catholic Church, and she was an avid churchgoer. Like, she went to church. It was more of a Baptist church, and I loved it. So we would go often, even before her son passed. But after her son passed, we started to seek out like other, like, well, this person is a healer. Go see this person. This person does Reiki. Go see this person. Like, we were
This one
kind of,
talks to spirits.
this one talks to spirits. Go see that
Oh my
person.
goodness.
I don't think anybody really talked to like, we didn't talk to any mediums at that time.
Hmm.
I mean, I delved into that a little bit later, but we didn't have any medium experiences at that time. It was more like these healers that were, like doing energetic work, I guess you would say, which I can't say didn't work. I feel like there's some things that really happened in those sessions that were pretty cool,
Is
you
that
know?
is that where the correlation comes in from like you practicing acupuncture?
Um, yes, because I think part of it was we did go to that one healer who was like, "You're not meant to be here. You need to apply to the school." And da, da, da. So she had to have some intuitive.
What was her specialty?
She was like a Reiki master, but she also did acupuncture. But she didn't tell me to go to school to do acupuncture. She was like, "You need to go to the naturopathic school. You need to go at the naturopath, like, do that." And didn't kind of guide me into that direction. How I got in that direction was a whole other story, but she was the one who was like, you need to do this. And I was like, well, might as well. I mean, like, I need to have a career. Like, I had my career that obviously in product development, but I was like, it'd be good for me I already
Yeah.
know business, get in, I was already kind of taking classes for nutrition online at that point. I think at that time, yeah, I was doing like a little bit of school online for nutrition because I got into working out again and kind of like that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So that's what kind of pushed me up here.
How did this full circle moment correlate to this year? How did it come about?
Oh my God. So it's funny because I've been, this year I have thought about her son more often than I have in previous years, replaying those things. But um, I think what happened is I had been getting into like a lot of toxic relationships after I moved back up here. And I think part of it was that healing, like, part of it. Like, you're just like, okay, I've experienced what death looks like. You know what I'm saying? Not for myself, but for other people. Like, you don't we don't know how long we have here, you know?
Mm.
And I've always been a very open, no filter, I don't give a shit type person because I think I've experienced so much trauma in certain aspects and I want to live my life the way I want to live my life. Like I don't give a shit what anybody else says, you know? I think this year, especially, what it started with was I was going from toxic relationship to toxic relationship. And last summer, not this past summer, summer 2024, I had been single for a little bit and I'd met this person who I met through friends who I thought were friends. And everything was great, like the first couple months. And then there were like little things that I was seeing that wasn't like right, you know, some rage texting, some a lot of drinking, like a lot, like just things that were happening. There was like a breaking point in December of 2024 where some bad stuff between us happened and I I separated myself from him. And I lost friends at that time, or I had friends that were basically going behind my back because he was sharing private messages and private photos. And this was all happening behind my back without knowing. He was bullying me online, and that actually got worse in the past, like, I would say 4 months was got really bad. But what had happened was without me knowing the things that were, these things that were happening, I separated myself from him for a little bit, and then we reconnected. And why I went back to that, I can't even tell you. I think at that moment, I was looking for maybe closure in a sense. Like, I think our connection was more than what I had experienced with a lot of people throughout the years. Like, we just had this like magnetic connection. But looking back, I was like, God was giving me like my final lesson in toxic relationships. And he was like, I'm going to introduce you to the worst of the worst human. And you either need to realize and see what's happening here, or this is going to keep happening, type thing. We reconnected in spring of 2024 or 2025. And he was just doing a lot of things behind my back, like just really, really horrible things. Sharing photos, sharing messages, taking pictures of my home, sharing, being like, guess where I am? Like, look at where like, just like the weirdest shit. And sharing it with these people who I considered my friends. In that time, one of my good friends, who I thought was one of my good friends, how I met him was through her friend who was a neighbor of hers, and she was an acquaintance of mine. I found out that they were screenshotting stories of mine on Instagram. They were taking photos of mine off my page, sending it to my friend and being like, how could you be friends with this person? Because of how I share my, change in my body, or how I dress, or I'm more provocative, or like, just have how I look or whatever, and basically kind of bullying me in a sense through my friend. That was hidden from me for like months, basically, until there was this one pivotal moment where there was a party going on. The friend across the street and her, it was like a dual kind of party. Like there was a kids party across the street, and then my friend was having like this baby shower for her friend. The night before those parties, I was helping her like do some stuff at the house, and she got drunk and decides to share with me all the stuff that has been being said about me, all the
The
stuff.
so-called friend.
Yeah.
So she
All
was just
she was
having a field day.
yeah, she was dumping.
Like, was she remorseful, or was she just like, ha ha ha?
She was remorseful, but she also was like, I always have to defend you. And I
Oh shit! So it's
and I
like
was
that.
like, I sat there for a moment. I'm like, what? Like, I knew the girl across the street didn't like me because, or had an issue with me at one time because she was close with this person that I was with, and he had said some things to her that weren't true, and she sent me this long message that was not very nice at all. In the experience with him, like after I went through this trauma with him that I won't talk about in December, and I knew that there was stuff off with her because she was always a little iffy with me, but there were times that were fine. Like we got along, like there was no, like I was very passive and calm and normal because my daughter was involved and they were all the kids were friends. So I'm like, I don't want my daughter to be excluded. And there was a lot of times where she was being excluded from things,
Mm.
because of me. And, I think they looked at me as like, well, this is not the normal typical mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at how she dresses, look at how she acts, and I don't live my life to please anybody else. Like, I don't live my life to live up to this, like, I have to be this soccer mom and standard and wear Lululemon and like, whatever. Like, that's go to Starbucks. Like, that's not how I live my life. I don't live my life. They're not paying my bills. That's how I always felt about it. So when we had this conversation that night and she was drunk, she made it like, well, I have to defend you through all these people all the time. I'm getting screenshots and messages constantly. Things are being said about you. And I was like, well, why does that have to do with me? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm just confused on why I'm going to these parties tomorrow if all these people do not like me. Yeah, like, why am I here? Well, you're here for me. Like, I need you to be there for me. And in the midst of this stuff, I'm replaying a lot of what has been said to me by her throughout this year. She's confided in me about a lot of their personal lives, and they're all cheating on their significant others and doing all these things. And this one has financial problems, and this one, like, has her boyfriend that she lives with and sleeping with somebody else. And but why am I being judged for how I dress and what I post on social media? Like, I am so lost here. And I'm like, this is supposed to be like, I had other friends that were like, you need to get away from this situation. Like, these are not your friends. These people like are bullying you. These people do not like you. And it's like a game for them. Like, I don't know why you're involved in this. And for me, it was like, well, I just want my daughter to be included. And they're like, find your daughter new fucking friends. Like, these are not the people you want your kid around. Like, bottom line. And in that moment that day, before these two parties, I was debating on whether to go and do the parties. And my friend was like, please, just like, I want, I know it bothers you. And I was like, it bothers me that you haven't defended me these, like, as my, like, me, like, why wouldn't you defend me as your friend? Like, why are you allowing this to happen? Like, why are you allowing them to send screenshot my shit and send it to you? So she's like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Like, I just don't want to be in the middle. And this is something that had happened back in December when this event happened with me and this guy. She made it very clear she wanted to be neutral with me and the girl across the street because he was friends with her. And I remember being like, I don't get that. Like, your friend goes through a trauma. Why are you staying neutral? Like, if that something happened to my friend, somebody did something to her bad, I would be like, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be defending her. And all my other friends were like, I want to step in. Like, I want to say something. Like, this is ridiculous. So I went to this party the next day. Seemed normal, seemed fine. Didn't know if he was going to show up. He ends up showing up later on in the night or day. And I could feel there was something off when I walked in the room. Like, you just know when everybody's talking about you. Like, you walk in there. And me, I'm like, let them fucking talk about me. Like, I'll stay here longer. That's how I feel. Like, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. So I'm going back and forth between two parties. And I really didn't want to be at the baby shower across the street because all these girls are talking about me. They're all like saying I'm this shitty person and like, look at me, look how I present myself. Like, why do I want to be here? So I went back across the street to this girl's house where a friend of mine was. He was like, come over, have a drink with me. So I went over there, and that guy obviously happened to be there. Said hello to me, and then my friend comes running across the street, basically yelling at me, like, you need to get back here. Like, why are you over here? It was like I was living in the
How old are
fucking,
we?
I know, I was living in the Twilight Zone. That's what it felt like. I was living in this fucking like crazy Twilight Zone. So anyway, so I get back to the house and I call my other friend. I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm leaving. Like, I can't be here. Like, I knew something was going on at the other house because I knew there was something up there. So months later, and mind you, he's at my house that night. He's at my house the night after. He's been like, he's not, apparently he's not telling people that he has been over my house or we're hanging out or like, so this was all, I thought they all knew. Like there's stuff that I didn't realize that people didn't know, you know? So then like a couple months later, a couple things started to come out where my friend, I hadn't talked to her since that time, that party, because I was really upset with her. I was like, I don't want to be treated like that. Like there's something off about the situation. She decides to tell me that that day at a kids fucking party, they were sharing private photos and private messages of me. And one of the adults ran over to her house in the middle of that other party and decided to show her on his phone. And instead of being walking over there and being like exposing these people and being like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? She decided to get upset with me and walk over and yell it. So I felt like I was living in the Twilight Zone. And, you know, she was apologizing and all these things, but I'm just like, there's something like off here. Like this doesn't seem right.
Let's talk about why you became friends with her in the first place.
So how I met her at a park with our kids were playing. They were 18 months. We didn't reconnect until a few years later when her daughter and my daughter were at camp together. And they became like very, very close. So obviously I became very close to her. Excuse me. At that time, our relationship was very different. This other person across the street was not there. There was no like, she accepted me for who I was. I accepted her for who we was. We had a great time together. Like it was like I just had made this new best friend. We just had fun together. It wasn't until this girl, they moved across the street, that things started to change a lot. They became very close, which I had no problem with them. Like I have a ton of close friends, so it's like didn't make, you know, but she would be constantly in her ear like, I don't like her. Look at what she posts online. Why are you hanging out with her? Why are you friends with this person? Unbeknownst to me. So I think that was coming out in our relationship. And that changed our dynamic a lot. And then obviously this person that I was seeing, you know, that obviously changed that dynamic too.
Crazy how it's like so influential,
Yeah.
or how influenced people can be.
Yeah.
You know,
It so influenced. And you know, it's crazy that it's not just my friend obviously that were involved in the situation with him. It's all the other people around him. Like it could be raining outside and you would walk outside and be like, it's raining. And the people around him would be like, no, it's not. Like, that's how they treated him. Like, it's not raining. Like, or if he did something, like he would do something. I'd be like, I have pictures, I have video here. Look, he didn't do that. Like, it was like, is this guy God? Like, what is he doing here that people are not seeing? And all of my friends are like, this is like, it almost was wild because one of my friends was like, they're in a cult. Like there's got to be something here that makes this person like there's no accountability. And I think he takes no accountability for his behavior because no one else holds him accountable that's around him. I became the villain immediately. Like he did something to me and because I reacted to it and spoke my truth and stood up for myself, I was the villain. And it was always like that. Like, she's the villain. She's the crazy one. I mean, there was just stuff that he would do that, you know, and that came out later on that was like, is the truth. And then I'd be like, no, it's not. He didn't do that. And then, so after that whole incident happened, and she told me, I confronted him, obviously, and more respectful than I think he deserved. I kind of was like, I need to know, you know, if this is the truth because I now have evidence and I have people telling me that you did this. And he basically gaslit me and flipped it around. Like, you can believe what you want to believe. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Like, you're the devil. You know what I'm
now,
saying?
now let's talk about toxic relationships, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I know, like, sometimes people get off on that toxic shit. So, like, when he would gaslight you, right, would that, like, get you a little bit more, like, reeled up in his web? Like, be, like, more, like...
No, that was the end of that. We did not speak after that. No, I think that I was, oh, you know, it's crazy because a lot of these relationships were similar but different people, right? So it was the same type of narcissism, the same type of toxicity, but in a different person, and almost heightened each time that I would
What
meet
type
somebody
of
new.
narcissism?
Some of them were like covert narcissism, and some of them were like outright narcissism, but like a lot of gaslighting, a lot of manipulation, a lot of emotional abuse.
Mm.
Just like taking like, when people say you have this light that you have this frequency or light that you're at, right? And people who are low level energy have to feed off that light to take from that, and essentially that brings you down to that level. And
Mm.
each time I was just being like down and down, whether it be like my how I look, my body, you know, I even got like, well, you own a business. So, you know, I'm not where you are at right now. You own a business, and that was used against me. Obviously the kid thing, which isn't normal. People use the kid thing all the time, but that really didn't. I was like, whatever.
I have another like maybe controversial
Yeah.
question I want to talk about. So, like you hear a lot like on social media, like this whole like men and women kind of like not like war, but like there's like this thing that's going on where I'm not like this is
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
for a point of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
conversation, right? So like you hear like women calling a lot of men narcissists, right? Because they might say like, hey, like I don't want you to dress this way, for instance, or
Yeah.
I don't want you to go there. You know what I mean? Or I like kind of like when you look at like old traditional, like the old before like this modern thing of relationships,
Yeah.
men really protected their women.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like they like just to go out, you know what I mean? It was like way more dangerous. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because you could go out in the woods or some shit, or like there wasn't phones.
Yeah.
People could do shit, and you're getting away with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it was like to go find another man, it
Yeah.
was a fucking like that was like to do that is scary as shit. Like when you
Yeah.
have a solid one, like you're gonna be kept in the wing, you're gonna be protected, safe, all
Yeah.
that stuff. And then once like social media came about, and like not even just that, but like more people around, population density,
Yeah.
police, like you could just get access to safety a little bit more. Like I think you, where was I going with this? Hold on.
With the narcissism, I think you're going with like it's. I know where you're going because I feel like a lot of women speak about men being narcissists. Yes, women can be narcissists too. Like I
I'm
do
not saying
believe
that they're
that.
not, no, that
Y-
either or is or isn't.
yeah.
I'm just saying like, do you like is or isn't? I guess I am, but like, sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
lost your
I'm a
train of
little out of it
thought.
right now because like I'm slightly hungover. My shit is so, I need some water, but real shit. Yeah. So like, I think sometimes like, because I feel like I know what narcissism looks like from just like family dynamics,
Yeah.
home dynamics, and all that
Yeah.
shit. And I know that like people flip it on its head and try to call you a narcissist
Yeah.
when you're just literally maybe even just presenting how they're treating you and then flipping it like you're trying to control me. You're
Yeah.
trying to do all this other shit. I'm just
Yeah.
like, no. I'm just presenting what is the situation, and then because you don't want to adapt, it's now, or like not even because you don't want to adapt, but like
Yeah.
just because you can't, as loved ones, you can't hold my pain. You
Yeah.
can't hold my perspective. Now all of a
Yeah.
sudden, I'm trying to control you. I'm just sharing what's on my heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't like that for me.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was a lot of like no, not only just the actual incidences or whatever that was going on and all that, like the, cyberbullying and the,
Yeah, that's
bullying in
crazy.
general.
Sharing pictures,
Um
yo, that's crazy.
yeah. And I'll tell you what happened like after all that shit went down, but there was a lot of other women that I didn't know about too. So
He was cheating.
yeah, there was a lot of like lustfulness, and like, what they say, like weak men are lustful. Like there was just so much of that I found out afterwards, even from his own mouth. Like he basically told me like he's never been faithful to anyone, and that, and I learned that pretty fast afterwards. But yeah, there was this. So obviously it came to a head. I confronted him on this whole, you know,
Yeah.
situation. And shit went downhill, and we didn't speak. And then there was something else. And the reason why I don't want to say it is because like, allegedly he had impregnated somebody, allegedly. And I was
Mm,
told this. So by him.
mm,
And that's why for months he's been distant and, treating me a certain way because
What was a
allegedly.
tipping point? Like, what made you walk away?
I mean, I think I knew I was going that was it for us when I found out what he had done.
The it wasn't even about the
It
cheating. It was just
wasn't
about getting
even
somebody.
about the pregnancy because there were bouts where like obviously we weren't together, like in a
Yeah.
situation together. Um, it was when I knew that that was going to be the end when I confronted him on what he had done with the pictures and text messages. Um, I just knew it in my heart, and I knew that I needed to do it in a way that was like classy and not because like I'm a Taurus, okay, and I have my rising sign is Aries. I'm fire. Like I will like I in that moment I'm like I want to burn everything to the ground at this point because you're
Oh
just like
damn.
finding out all it's just like you're finding out that all these people have bullied you and said all these horrible things about you and made this narrative about you, and I don't even care that they can think whatever they want, but it's like I own a business, I have a kid. Like it was like just the things like sharing things that were private between us was really, I mean, it got to a point where I confronted him and it did not go well. Okay. It did not go well at all. I mean, I basically was like very calm and collective and I just like I need to know what happened. He lost his shit basically. Said some horrible things to me and that was the end of that. And then obviously with the whole pregnancy thing, then I had people bullying me online. Now he had other women who he was sleeping with who were like saying shit about me online and talking about my age and how I looked and all these
And
things.
they knew that you guys were together.
Oh, apparently, like yeah. I mean, it was just like spread around like
Big
wildfire.
pimping.
Yeah, big pimping, I guess. Um, and it's so funny because I am not for like I'm more like female empowerment. I'm for like nice like female empowerment. Like I'm not for like that bullying type shit. I always think there's some karma that's gonna come with that. Like if you're gonna go after a female you know nothing about, you don't know their situation, you only know that what that man is telling you, like, and you're gonna bully that person, like expect for some shit to happen to you. And it did. It boomeranged, and after that she was in we were out one night. I ended up seeing him out one night, and he was with her, and making out, doing putting on the full show, and she leaves the bar, and then another girl walks by him 2 seconds later, and he's making out with this chick and leaves with her, and I'm just like, in my mind, I'm
Yo, what's this
like,
guy's number? Let me get some tips.
like it okay, let's talk about the quality and how, I mean, like,
Oh shit.
at that point there's no quality, like you're just going for
Oh.
anything and
Oh.
anything, and I
All
hate
right.
to,
Never mind.
and I'm not that person, but I hate to, but the quality is low
Low
balling,
tier.
yeah, low tier, like you're at the
All right.
bottom of the fucking, you're scraping at the barrel. But and that in that moment I was like, this is who he really is, and I felt bad for her in a sense. Like I'm like, she'll figure it out. She'll figure it out at some point. But in the midst of all this, I ran into him one other time, and he was with his best friend's family, and they're like, I don't know, in their 60s or whatever. Like it's a bunch of adults, and then his friends, and they're all at a table, and he walked away for a second, and a friend of mine was sitting at a table next to them. So I walked over to say hi to her, and all of a sudden I hear these grown ass adults going, "Oh, here the fuck she comes." Like I'm being like legit bullied in public by grown people who don't even know me, never even met me. And I didn't even do shit. Like that's the crazy part. Like I did nothing to this human. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, I reacted to some of the shit that he's done to me, but like to defend myself. So then I find out from a friend of mine, calls me the next day, and she's like, I just want to make you aware that not only is he sharing private photos of you, to his friends and all these things, he was that night at the bar showing people at the bar.
Wow.
And that was like a turning point for me where it's like, you know, God put this person in front of me to show me what like pure evil is, and I need to stop going about this cycle and meeting the same person
Hmm.
every single like I need to know the red flags and run when I see them, you
Hmm.
know? And I think in that moment, I was upset and hurt obviously, but in that moment I literally was like I'm done. I need to move on, you know?
My fault.
No, you're fine. It's the hungoverness. You need to drink some
No,
water
I'm choking on some water. It went on wrong
with the
pipe.
wrong pipe.
Yeah.
So that was like, and so then I was like, I need to get myself out there. I need to start, just doing my own thing, working on my businesses, working on myself. You know, I felt like I was stuck.
So when did this end? When was this like the?
Um, the turning point was actually in November.
So very recent.
Very recent. That turning point hit very recent.
Turning point was when? What do you mean by turning point? Like,
When I found out he was like actively sharing things in a bar.
and how long until afterwards? Where did you guys stop talking? Or like were you guys still messing around at
No,
that point?
no. We were not. September 28th, I think was the last time.
Damn, you remember the day?
Yeah,
Oh
mm-hmm.
shit!
It was like September
Last time you
20th.
guys had sex, or last time you guys were together?
That that same week, yeah.
Why do you remember the day so much? Like so, like
I think that was just like I was like, you need to remember when this was like when you're like it changed for you. Like you need to
mm,
remember when you decided to choose better.
mm,
And that was like I
damn.
remember that date because that was the day I decided to like choose better.
Mm,
Choose better friends, choose better. And I always had great friends. I will have to say, like, I've always been, had a good group of friends. But I was choosing people because I wanted acceptance in the fact that, like, I'm a good mom and I need to play that part. I was choosing people that, had kids and just, like, did the kid thing, but they weren't really doing the kid thing, to be honest. They had their own demons. So there's that, too.
mm.
But the look of it on the outside, you know what
Do
I'm
you have a
saying?
history of like choosing shitty friends or shitty
No, I
partner?
think
I
through
mean, you meant
everybody goes through friends. I'm a very like kind and open person. So I will meet somebody, I give everybody a chance. And I think that was the learning experience I needed to learn. Like stop giving, like you have your core group of friends that have been with you since childhood or since like you're in your 20s, stop. You don't need any more.
right.
Like stop trusting people. I was picking friends that didn't have any girlfriends. And I'm like, well, why don't they have any girlfriends? Like I've had girlfriends since I was 2 years old. Like, what is going on here? Well, there's a reason why they have no girlfriends
Hmm. They're
because
they're bitchy.
they're terrible people
They're
and
bitches.
they can't keep friends for a reason.
I'm just
You know
kidding.
what I'm saying? Yeah, I think in the midst of all this too, one thing I wanted to point was he was another thing he was doing was he was messaging my friends and family
Hmm.
and trying to hook up with my friends
How long
and
were you
my
guys together
family. Year
with
and a
your
half.
family? A
Yeah, he
year
went
and a
after my
half?
cousin, my married cousin.
No
Decided
shit.
to message her at 3 in the morning.
When'd you find this out?
Um, that was around like September
Was
time.
it on
Like
the end?
yeah, the
Hmm.
end. Yeah, he was reaching out to her, messaging her,
Mm.
and she blocked
It
him.
sounds
And
like this has had like a hold on you.
I think yeah, for a long, it did have a hold on me, and um, you know,
You think it still does?
I think I am going through the stages of grief
Mm.
in the situation. So I'm
Mm.
at the like the anger stage where like I
Right.
want to fucking rage on every single one of those people. Like
Right.
I know exactly what you did to me.
Right.
And
I hear you.
and you kind of go through that. It's not the person per se. Like I don't, me and yes, we did have a connection, have this like magnetism. Like every time we were near each other, it was like we were like two magnets. And I remember even when I met this guy in October and I was out and I ran into him and we were like me and this new guy were like hanging out and talking and I walked to the bathroom and he went right up to the dude and started like talking to him. And it was like it's almost like a power move. So when I came back, the guy was like, "What the fuck was that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he's like, "I don't want to be involved in this." Like pretty much was like, "I can't be involved in like, you know." So in that moment I was like, "I cannot let this guy have a hold on me or like ruin anything for me moving forward. Like I need to separate myself from
Yeah.
that person." And then I saw him one other time when all that stuff happened. And that was the last time. I pretty much separated myself then from places he would go and things like that, and all these things. So just to kind of keep my distance from him completely,
Mm.
you know. But I think that was the change for me in the cycle of what I've been choosing for so long in my life because of those traumatic events. I've been like, I,
Being the death.
yeah, just being the death of like experiencing those events, I've been like more open to people and more like, you this could be your last day. So why would I not, choose this person that I have a connection with? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like,
you're looking right.
like why would I,
You just
and
want. You're really looking for the flesh.
yeah, like why I want to experience, I want to have
Immediate
fun.
gratification.
Yeah, and every single person that I met, I was like, I'm gonna have fun with this person. Like we're gonna go to games, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then I'm like, they're not fun. Like this is
Sex is
not
fun.
fun. I mean, even that, it was like there were some moments where he was so intoxicated, or just like things, you know, didn't work because you're so fucked up, and it's like this is not normal. Like you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like this is not like yes, we had a connection for sure. Was it a toxic one? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I think it was something I had a lesson in my life. I had to meet this person again in this lifetime to break the cycle. I think that was my connection with him. And I think he was my strongest connection, and I had to be the strongest in this time to be like we're done with this. Like we're not going back to that same person ever again.
Mm.
And there has been people that I've met after him that I've been like nope. Like absolutely not. Like I would talk to them, I'd be like, I could just feel, I know it's not like right, and I'd be like, no, I'm good. Like, you
What was
know,
the learning lesson that you got through it? Like, what's so if we're going like X, Y, and Z period of
yeah,
time of just like chasing immediate gratification and just trying to find, the thrill in partnership. That's the thing. Like, I wanted to also dissect because I think
yeah,
like a lot like when like especially with like women,
yeah,
like they look for obviously they operate off emotions more.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So the thrill in things is pretty exciting.
yes.
But like this whole toxic relationship thing, is that just innately women, or is it just like, what is that? Like, what
I
is
think
that?
women, I both think women and men can both be toxic. And
No,
throughout
for
the,
sure,
and I just want to point out, like,
for
I'm
sure.
not saying like I was very loyal and I, did things right. But in moments of being, I was I was toxic myself in moments of like, acceptance of like, okay, well, he did this, well, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I'm going to react to what he did to me because I'm fucking pissed. You know what I'm saying? So that was him bringing out that toxicity in me. Like, that would, so I definitely feel like both parties could be toxic. I think we live in a world now with social media that is not really reality in a lot of sense. Like, you know, people, and I think this both goes for men and women, they don't have to work hard for things. Like, you see these women
Immediate
and immediate
gratification.
gratification. Like, you know, and these good looking men can get whatever they want because these women are giving it up left and right, and they don't have to work for anything. And I think it's the same for women sometimes. Like, you don't have to work for anything. They're getting paid for this, they're getting sent money, they're getting, you know what I'm saying? One thing about off topic a little bit, I had done a question and answer on my story the other day for the first time in a year. I haven't. It's interesting because being with this guy, like I was very scared on things, how I should open myself up to social media. I didn't want to. It was weird. I never felt like that before. I was like, I don't want to be judged. Like, this, do I sound stupid? Like, am I? And I never like. It was just like questioning myself because of this person, and the place I was in with him. So I decided I was like, I'm gonna do this Q&A. Like I haven't done this in a while, and the amount of men that were like, give me your PayPal, give me your Cash App, give me your like, was like, I mean,
Do better.
yeah, it was like, and I appreciate it. Thanks. Like I'm a single mom, like, I run a, I understand that, but I ended up, when I say the butterfly effect, in the moment of,
How much you scrape in?
in the moment of this happening, right? I'm on my explore page and I click on this girl's video and I see this video of this female that has a son and they're in a shelter and they're like she has a great she's like this really interesting backstory, and she's working really hard as a single mom to just be a mom and survive in New York City. And she had a GoFundMe page and she had like a Cash App. And I'm like, I'm just going to take all this money and you can give it to this person. But it's crazy how easy it is. You know what I'm saying? I've been approached a lot with OnlyFans. Like, you can make thousands of dollars, or you should just put your workouts on there. Like, OnlyFans, like people would pay, which is like great idea. Like, I thought about it for sure. And I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying, like, it's so easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, to put yourself out there and, just to do these things and make money. And social media is a great tool. Like, I use it for my business all the time and it works. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But as far as relationships wise, I think it's like ruined the
Right.
quality of relationships
A
and,
hundred percent.
you know,
100%.
and the expectation. And I
It makes you
think,
wonder if there's any going back.
I don't know. I have met, men after this relationship who I think are really good men, and there's like distance involved and other factors involved that, you know, it wouldn't work. But I definitely feel like there are like good people out there that want the same thing that I want, and have that expectation. And I thought I wasn't asking for a lot. I'm like, all my friends, I pretty much I lived all my 20s in Florida, and, all my friends married, wealthy, and, live the life and have these like materialistic things that you can never like, you never know if you'll ever have. You manifest it, but you just never know. Like, they have this life that's amazing. And all I wanted was like, let's go to a football game. Let's go to a basketball game. Let's go to, and I didn't think it was that hard. It's fucking hard. Like, I think I don't know. I think I was just picking the wrong type of person, you know?
Where do you find most of your like your?
Um, you know, I've met a, I've met a few out, but mostly like, I've met people at the gym or met through friends, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think and my daughter's father, he's, I've known him since I was young. So, teenagers. So, there's that aspect, but I feel like when you meet somebody in a bar, you have to be careful. And I
Mm.
didn't meet this person in a bar. I met him through, but his activities is a lot of drinking and a lot of partying. And I remember like having a conversation with him and being like, you have a good job, right? Um, he's living with his parents, but I was like, everybody would be like, that's a red flag. Like, you can't,
I was
like,
thinking that.
I was like, that's a red flag. And it was explained to me in the moment that he was saving to like get something in the economy, obviously. And I get it. I get it. Okay, whatever. I mean, there's always a roommate. You can have a roommate. Like, I don't know. And maybe he's saving for a house. Maybe he's doing, but I was like, you have so much potential. Like, to do other things outside of your job. Like, you make good money at your job, you have good benefits, but like on the side, do this on the, what I'm saying? Cause I'm not like small business person. I'm like, okay, I'm going to, like I did my work, I'm doing my workout stuff. I'm going to do like a gym line and create like, women's wear or whatever, working on that. Like, I have all these like entrepreneurial ideas, and I'm like, and you're at the bar and drinking at your friend's house, smoking pot like, you do something. Like, let's do something. You know what I'm saying? Let's build together. Let's be. And I think people use the excuse like he's younger than me, so they're like, well, he's younger, so he'll get there at some point. And it's like, I was I was 24 with my own fucking condo. Yes, the economy was different back then and I was making a lot of money, but I owned condo at 24. I was, I putting myself through medical school at 26, 27. Like, working jobs along with going to school full time. Like, I think the privilege in right now with certain like age groups is different than what we grew up in a sense. Like, you know, he had a lot of privilege. He didn't have to worry about a lot of things. Like, his car broke down, parents would pay for it. His, something happened, I found out after it ended between us that he had gotten drunk and crashed his car. And his friend came and towed it, saved him, fixed the car, and he's on his fucking way. Like, it's like, there's no repercussions. Like, there's no accountability. There's no, like, you don't have to do anything. Like, you just get everything handed to you. So I think that is part of it, we live in a society where there is quite a bit of privilege in certain aspects, with certain age groups or whatever, you know? So that's what I think that's going on currently, but I don't know,
100% goes
you
into
know?
immediate gratification. It's
Yeah.
like the word of the day, the
Yep.
theme of today's episode almost. Immediate gratification.
Immediate gratification for sure. Um, you know, it's a, and I don't like to blame 100% like everybody around him because they don't know everything that happened between us per se, because there's a lot. Like I think, I ran into a friend of his and she was upset with me about how I reacted to some things, and I feel like, but you don't really know, you know what I'm saying, what was done to me, or maybe you were part of it, I don't know, but you weren't, I feel like as a female, it should be, it's just a different type of where we are in society right now. It's like, I feel like a lot of times we're defending abusers in a sense. Like, it's like, well, this is what they're going to do, He's a guy, he's young. He can do whatever he wants, like,
Mm.
Um and I just think, yeah, it's the immediate gratification. It's like getting things very easy, and that's just like what he particularly is used to, you know whether that's, and I look back and I'm like, it's not quality. Whatever he's getting is not quality. Like, he's not living in a mansion and, down in Greenwich or something. Like, he's not driving a Mercedes or doing all that, what I'm saying? Like, he he's comfortable in where he's at in his life, and whether that will change, I don't think so. I think that he just has that privilege. He'll stay in that.
Right.
And I think that's just normal these days. I feel like, I don't know.
Maybe. I think everybody has their path. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes people get things easier.
Yeah.
Sometimes people struggle a little bit more. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think, if everyone's satisfied with their life, then that's what we're hoping for at the end of the day. Obviously,
Yeah.
people are going through their shit. Some people are living better than others,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? It's everyone's walk. Personally, I like I don't necessarily love it when I go through it, but like I feel like I've experienced so much shit, but I also feel like it's made me stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's given me a lot more wisdom,
Yep.
empathy,
Yep.
grit.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
Every bit of, like, some people, hey, as humans, like, sometimes you wish you could just get shit easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the shit that you learn at the end of the day, like, I know the life that I want is not going to come with an easy walk.
No.
You know what I mean? So because I have a dream,
Yep.
that's how it is. You know what I mean? If people are just happy with just living, in their
Yeah.
day to day,
When you want more,
yeah,
you have to struggle and work harder to
yeah,
get more,
definitely,
And I feel like that is what goes, that's a learning experience that I learned in relationships too this year, was like, I worked so hard for my degrees and my license, and, going that path. Like, I need to put myself on that pedestal and know that, like, I deserve somebody on my level of, you know, path and what I've worked for. Like
right,
that, I need somebody that maybe has struggled and
right,
had to go through all these barriers to get to where they are. So they appreciate,
right,
living and, that, a certain type of person,
100%,
I
a
think
hundred percent.
that's, so I think I was like, soaring up here, in my life. I was like, I got a kid, I got my business, I got all this stuff. And, and then I meet this person that's slowly coming, like, hovering below, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, let me dip down there for a second and
Mm.
just hang out and see how that view is. You know what
Right,
I'm saying?
right.
Like, let me have some, because I'm like, you're young, let's have some fun. Let's do, and then I'm like, no, 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 this is not fun. This is
Mm.
not. And I think that went for friendships too. I think I learned a lot in friendships
Like,
in
yeah,
with him in that, aspect,
right.
One of my friends today I was with was like, I was telling her, she's like, what are you going to talk about today? And I was like, I don't know. Probably like this year and what happened. And she's like, oh, she's like, this is, she's like, I can't wait to hear this. Like, this is crazy. I mean, I didn't even know half the shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? You kept it so private,
Mm.
in a classy way. Like, it's not like you went on social media and were posting all these things and saying these horrible, you know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yeah,
kept it like
right.
very, very personal.
Ooh, that just scared the
What was
shit out of me real
that?
quick. Uh, Nothing.
Paranormal experience we're having.
Don't be bringing that shit over here. No,
You need to sage
I rebuke this whole shit. No.
Yeah.
No
Speaking
demons out
is,
here. You must, yo, leave. You
I
are
mean, I
not
feel like
welcome.
did you see that? It was going up and down. I was like, yes, yes. It was
Nah,
like,
nope. I didn't
yes,
see anything
no.
actually.
Into what we were talking about, I was like, yes.
No, no, I didn't see nothing.
I mean, speaking of
That did
that,
not happen.
I feel like my relationship with God got. I mean, I've always had a relationship, like private relationship. I'm not the one to like post psalms on Instagram and do all these things. Like, I'm fine with that, but I just like have a personal relationship, and I think it got like a lot stronger since all this stuff happened. It was like you have to lean into just trust
100%.
that your path is what it is, and like
I'm
that
so glad that you said that.
he's gonna guide you in that, and like stop fighting it. You know,
100%.
even though you have care and you have feelings for this person or these people or whoever you were,
God,
you know.
got some fluff. Yeah, no, I'm so happy that you brought God into the picture because that's what's worked for me.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's like every episode I love to bring God in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Most High, Yahuwah, Yahusha,
Yeah.
of the Bible. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Christ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He has brought me friends.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm still not. I haven't found a wife as of yet.
Yeah.
I pray that I find a
Yep.
wonderful woman.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But if not, I really don't. It's not. That's not my purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that was part of what got me this year too. Was like they were like, well, she's unmarried. She's not married. She, all the like. It's like, well, why is that like? Is that what makes you a person to be married? Like, that is your purpose in life? I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. Is that what makes you like a better person than somebody else because you're married? You know? I just think that's like wild.
no, it's what you do with your life, especially in
Yeah.
these. It's about what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the impact. It's ultimately being a tool for the Most High, being a
Yeah.
vessel. You know what I mean? We don't need any accommodation or any clap. You know what I'm saying? Like you just
Yeah.
do what is right
Yep.
because you're focused on your relationship with the Most High.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Yep.
That's it.
Yep. I think I just learned to stop fighting it. I think I learned like, you're going to have to experience like pain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is part of your purpose.
But the beauty of it too is like, as I've gone through my journey, right?
Yeah.
And as I've become closer with the Christ, with the Most High, I've realized that in that pain, in that suffering, it's so much more tolerable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's so much more. It's less of pain.
Yeah.
And it's more of as I've read the Bible. There's like a passage I can't remember it verbatim, but like when tough times come, like that is good.
Yeah.
Because it is a chance for God to show His glory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
It's so freaking true. It's true. I remember last year, January 1st of 2025. It was like one of the worst days of my life. I was like just at such a low point, and I was like, just it has to get better. And going through these ups and downs, I was like, what? I literally knelt on my knees like next to my bed, and I was like, please, like, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm done with these type of people. I'm done with these relationships. Please, like, I've learned my lesson. Like, make it get better. And that was the night I confronted him, and it was like, boom. It was like out. You know what I'm saying? I had a little cry sessions about certain things. Obviously, the pictures being shown and things like that.
yeah.
But I was like, how am I dealing with this so well? You know what I'm saying? Like, how am I like okay? Like I'm okay seeing him out with other people. Like, I'm just kind of like, like, what did I see in this person? Like, this is not a normal person, It was like, how was I so like non-affected in a sense by his presence? And I was like, I think that was that night that I prayed to God, and it was like, please, it's time. You know what I'm saying? Like, get me out of this. Like, I've completed the cycle. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've broken the chain. And it was funny, my cousin, she had called me, and she was like, so I don't know if you know, my last name is Grimaldi, and I don't know if you've ever heard of the Grimaldi curse.
Yo,
We're
bringing in all this seance.
I don't know
Spirit, don't be
the
bringing in
no.
no spirits over here,
I
all
don't
right?
know. Listen, I don't know the
What's the
whole.
curse?
I don't know the whole backstory. I don't know the whole backstory, but there is a curse on my family's name per se. Like
You
long,
guys
long
did
time
some
ago,
people
there was
dirty.
a witch that put a curse
Oh my,
on the women in my family
that's
and
bullshit.
giving them hardships on relationships.
Who
And
told you this?
you can look it up on TikTok. It's
Oh
called the
shit,
Grimaldi curse. Fucking look,
Grimaldi curse.
yeah, look it up.
No shit.
And I will, and I don't really think,
Nah, don't believe in that.
no,
The
it,
power to believe in that shit makes that shit stronger.
yeah, it was just funny that, my cousin was like, oh, this is why our whole family, you know what I'm saying? It's like we all have, and I was like, no, we're not making that a thing. We're not manifesting
You
that.
guys must have stolen some witches. You must have stolen her
It was
man.
something with a witch, and I can't remember the whole story, but you're gonna have to look it up, and it's interesting. It's
Sounds
really
crazy.
interesting. Yeah. Because like our family name is royalty per se in
Rebuke
my
that
home.
shit. That ain't nothing.
Yeah, hell
You
no.
know what I mean? Christ is so
Yeah,
much stronger than that. Get closer to
no,
him. That shit ain't even
exactly.
that ain't real.
And Catholicism too, we believe in like saints and stuff like that.
I don't believe in Catholicism.
Well, the Catholic,
Nope.
you're
Nope.
Christian.
No, my family grew up Catholic.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, my grandma, she's still Catholic.
You know what's funny is I grew up Catholic, and my grandmother was very religious, in Catholic church. I resonated more with like a Christian type church than I did with Catholic, but I definitely took away with the saints in certain aspects with some of them that I've prayed to. That it's interesting, and the experiences that I've had with that. But people, I don't care what people believe. I feel like you just have to have faith in something.
Right. I just like to, the reason I talk about it is because I feel like a lot of people, sometimes like people walk into churches and they
Yeah.
just listen to the pastor and they don't even open up their Bible themselves
Yeah.
and they don't even like try to like really decipher or interpret.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of churches do that, variety of denominations. Um,
As far as the Catholic Church, yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I resonated more with the Christian or Baptist, because the word from the pastor, like the translation was so much more powerful
hmm,
in certain aspects than I got with in the Catholic Church. Like sometimes I go in there, I'm like, ugh, the same thing over and over again. We're not really getting much.
right.
But
That's why it's such a deep search when it comes to God because
yeah,
like I think the powers at play are trying to disconnect us from God.
100%.
And I think even in translations,
Yeah,
like you have to, I feel like the best way, like it says that we have to search for the Most High with our whole heart and soul.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And really, if we were to truly like read the Bible, it would have to be in ancient Hebrew
yeah,
because it's a codex. Like
yeah,
every symbol represents that every symbol that creates a word in that word is so much context because it's like words within words.
yeah. And they've taken a lot from the Bible as well. Like I don't
Yeah.
know if I forgot the passage. There was one passage on how to cure illness. I don't know if you heard of this, like
Yeah.
fasting,
Yeah.
and there was certain Bible they've
Yeah.
taken that
Prayer
out,
and
prayer and
fasting.
fasting.
That's in my bio.
Yeah,
Matthew, I think like 21 or
yeah,
7, 21, 20. I don't
yeah,
even know.
and it's interesting because that plays such a pivotal role in my medicine when it comes to illness. There are certain aspects that you do when you have a fever, when you have a cold. Like there's like things like you'll fast when like you don't feed the fever. You feed the
Yeah.
cold. Like there's certain like things that kind of go hand in hand with that, and I
Right.
think it's interesting that people that has been removed in some Bibles,
Yeah. Yeah,
which is crazy.
exactly. It's wild. But
Yeah.
it's not wild because like it's so obvious that people are trying to stray us away. And that's why it's like when I was bringing up the Bibles and the translations, like if we really want to get closer, we have to like read different translations and just like
Yeah.
now weigh them because we don't have the ancient Hebrew anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and it also says that the Bible's written in our heart. So
Yeah.
so for some people it makes sense. Like
Yeah.
when you read it, like it's just like, oh yeah, that's so obvious. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Because it's written in our hearts already.
Yeah.
And I think we have to read different translations or like different verses in order to really get like a well-rounded understanding because it has been nitpicked, it has been
Mm-hmm.
played with. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
100%.
But at the end of the day, the Most High is the Most High. So like, things have been preserved.
Yep.
But there's definitely little one word change can have a huge impact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's that's why it's all the heart. the
Yeah.
discernment, like
Discernment.
that
Yeah.
relationship, how like when
Yeah.
what you get when you're reading it, because it's gonna be a codex.
And
It's gonna,
discernment goes with relationships too.
yeah,
Discernment.
absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
That's why I see a lot of these women out here. They're crazy. You know what I mean? And like I say crazy in the disloyal sense, or in
Yeah.
the unable to regulate their emotions,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean, just low accountability.
Yeah.
Um, and I have no tolerance for that
Yeah.
at all. You
Yep.
know, so
I think it's how, I mean, I think we all are not perfect, and we've definitely, you have to choose the relationship that doesn't trigger you, right? You have to choose the relationship that doesn't give you anxiety.
right,
And because when you're triggered and when you have anxiety, it's like that fight or flight goes on. So you're automatically going to respond
right,
in a anxiety type manner. Like, and that's what I've learned. Like, there'd be times where, I've had exes that would ghost me for a few days, and then I'm responding like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And you're like giving paragraphs, right? And now I'm just like, somebody goes to me, I'm like, peace. You're deleted, you're blocked. See you later.
that's it.
Have a nice life. Like, I think it's just it's a learned experience. You have to know when you start feeling that anxiety and you start questioning, like, why is this person not responding to me, or why is this person reacting in this certain way?
Right,
Like, you have to know that this is going to trigger you, so you need to,
right.
this is not the right situation for you.
And I think sometimes, like, even though we may not want to hear it, like, we need to actually step back
Yeah.
and have time be a part of the equation,
Yeah.
because we need to work on ourselves. We have more lessons that need to be learned or
Exactly.
unlearned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it might be a 10-year, 20-year, 15-year, 5-year, 2 months, who knows? But,
Yeah.
like,
I find it
period you got to wait
interesting,
through.
and this goes for women too. When I see, like, the person I was with, like, I mean, he had already been moved on in our situation. You know what I'm saying? So but so fast to the next person,
As soon as he
and
turned his head.
certain as he turned it, it was another. I mean, back to back. Even not with me around, it was like, you're going, and I was like, not to mention the you need to get tested part, but I don't know how that works. Like, I can't do that. It's almost like you're taking on these people's energy,
Hmm.
and like, having just the plethora of people or women or whatever for a man, and vice versa for women. Like, what path are you on with that? Like, are you,
Hmm.
like, you're so consumed with just getting laid all the time, or hooking up, or
Right,
you're not on your purpose path. Like, you're
right,
being held back by energy and people. Like, I just can't comprehend, like, how that
right,
makes you feel like
right,
normal. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
100%.
But
100%.
a lot of times it's buried by drugs and alcohol too. You know what I'm saying? And that is what goes along with it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
I hear you. I get you. I think for like I had a period in time where I was kind of just like on my shit, and not really going for the relationship, and
yeah,
mostly just like fucking around.
yeah,
And I know for my personal thing, I think it was like I was trying to. It was like a pseudo love.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like,
It's instant gratification.
yeah, you know what I
That's
mean?
what it
Like
was.
I just wanted some like love.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And I think I was just like correlating sex to intimacy.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So I'm just like, you know what I mean? I wanted to get
yeah.
intimate. And then for me personally, it just became,
It's also
it's
the
became
chase.
dull.
It's also the chase. So it's like that
Mm,
like, for a lot, but for a lot of men, it's the chase. It's like, oh, I'm gonna, like, I need to, wow. You know what
I
I'm
don't like
saying?
the
Like,
chase,
but for a
personally.
lot of people, that's what it is. It's that feeling of that, like, that excitement, and then
Yeah.
when you get the person, that excitement's over.
For me,
For them.
yeah, yeah.
You
No, I
know?
get that. I get that 100%. But like, I'm the type of person who doesn't like wasting my time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Well, you're different.
I lacked the chase,
Yeah.
because for me, I'm not gonna put this effort when I had some like traumas, like I don't trust women. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
like this is not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
The fuck am I gonna put my energy into some bullshit that's and ultimately gonna be terrible?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like why would I do that? It doesn't make
Yeah.
any fucking sense to me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean now the I yeah, I don't know. I'm not a, that's not my type of thing. I'm not a chaser. You know what I mean? I don't fuck with the chase.
Yeah.
You know, I don't got time for that shit.
Well, I think too, and when you speak about trauma too, I think, I compared a lot of people to my dad, like a lot of men to my dad. My dad is like the epitome of like who you would want to be with. Like financially takes care of his women. Like, everything, like loving, kind, buys them cars, houses. Like that was just like the experience that I always got from my dad. Like very, like the man's man type of thing, fixing everything. If you need to hire somebody, he's hiring somebody for you. You know what I'm saying? That kind
Yeah.
of thing. And I'm like, why am I not choosing men like my dad? Like what is going on here? And then I'm thinking,
They don't exist.
I
No,
don't think it's that they don't exist. I think I was trying to find, like, I lost my mom at a young age, but I was chasing after that, the type of love that my dad had with my mom. And I don't think that type of love always exists these days. Like
it's rare.
it's rare. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I was always chasing after like
Right.
the excitement, all these things, like
Exactly.
instead of what that person really had to offer me.
Right.
You
And
know?
that's how I feel too. Like if I had a woman who was like just inner feminine,
Yeah.
just like, just like nurturing. Not
Yes.
necessarily just like
Yeah.
baby blah blah blah,
But why do you think a lot of
but
these young
like
men want older women now? Because
oh,
we
they're trying to plug.
because we cook, we clean, we provide, like we have our own things going on. We are not sending hundreds of text messages or showing up at
Hey,
your
that
house and
sounds fucking mint.
slashing
That
tires.
sounds fucking mint.
I mean,
But I
that's
want to
something.
have kids too.
Yes,
You know what I
and
mean?
I think that becomes a thing too. And not to say that, I mean, you can date somebody a little older that can have kids. I
For
mean,
sure.
like
For sure.
in my, people ask me, they're like, would you have another child? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, obviously would need to have one sooner than later, but I would 100% have another child. It's just, you have to look at the factors of like, if there was a certain huge age difference, what that looks like when we're older. Like, are you going to be attracted to me when when I'm 50 or when I'm 55? You know what I'm saying?
That's
Because
why,
you're going to be, maybe
right.
10 years younger. Um,
Relationships should be, or not should be, like, I think it's a structure of values.
yeah.
If you guys have,
Had the same.
exactly.
And yep, I
You
get,
know,
yep. Well, a friend of mine, she had her, she married her husband who was 15 years younger than her.
wow.
They have a child together, I think like 3 years old now. She's 45, 46 now.
And he's 30?
And he's, yeah, just turned 30. Yeah.
Damn.
Yep. And
Wow.
it
This man was
works.
chasing cougars.
It works. I mean, and I feel like a lot of, but you see that a lot now. Like you see men going for older women a lot now because
That are more, they can have deeper conversations.
deeper conversations provide, they're not like, okay, give me money, give me watches, give me jewelry. You know what I'm saying? Like we can get that
But
person.
what is that though? Is that just like the younger women who just like, because like now you see like this epidemic, right? Or not like an
Yeah.
epidemic, but like now all these girls are just like they get that immediate gratification. They have no reason to stay down, so they're having sex with a bunch of people, doing their fucking
Yeah.
thing, and then it gets to a time maybe they're like, oh shit, like I'm still like I don't have a husband or I'm not locked down or some type of thing, and now they're just like, okay, now I gotta switch up and start blah 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 blah.
Well,
So
no, I think a lot of the younger women now go for very older men to financially provide for them. And, um, I do have some friends who are younger who are bosses. Like they have created businesses for themselves and structured themselves in a certain way that like is incredible. But at their young age, the drive because they've experienced hardships. But I think a lot of, and even them, I feel like they want somebody in their 40s or 50s. They want, it because the young ones sometimes
they're just focused on what they can get.
they're focused on the lust, like the person I was with, and that. And, these younger girls want houses and cars and things. They want somebody who can provide. So I think that's switched up a lot because they're going for people who are older to be able to provide, or
And then
equally
behind his
provide.
back, they're fucking.
Um, you know, I don't think that's necessarily true. I know quite a few that have, 20-year older, significant others. I guess it just depends, on what you want, I guess. I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
it's,
I
it's
don't know.
you know,
Who
I
knows?
think this world is so fucked up right now.
No, it's
It's
shit.
like, yeah,
It's terrible.
it is shit. It is like,
That's it. That's why we have the Most High.
yeah. I think it's, you know, a friend of mine, she runs a podcast and she was said something recently about soulmates. She's like, I used to write in this diary, or this journal every day about like finding my soulmate. And she's like, I don't necessarily know if that's true. Like if that you always find your soulmate in, I think you can find a person that equally balances you out and like is your person, but that person may not be your soulmate in this lifetime, which
Yeah.
is the truth,
Yeah, it is
you
what it
know?
is. It is what it is. That's why I'm not as a man, I think it's good not to be focused on that type of shit. I think it's good to be focused on your purpose
Yeah.
and then
But
just
that's
that's it.
rare. That's rare. You're not going to find that a lot with men focused on their purpose. It's
I feel like it will eventually start to become more because these times, I think it's been easy. Like I have a
yeah.
book somewhere. It's like hard times create, or there's a quote like hard times create
Yeah.
hard men create good times,
Yeah.
good times create
Yeah.
soft men create
Yeah.
hard times create hard men, strong men. It's like this cycle. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think we've had it easy, a lot like most people in this generation. Like things are, again, you can get
Yeah,
anything
instant gratification.
like that, and so
Yeah.
people are soft, and like now the you know women have recognized that too. So they're kind of like jumping, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's created this hard time,
Yeah.
which will create hard men. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Strong men who have to focus on their purpose because I will definitely, I mean, I think people are already starting to see it. Like, unfortunately, like these relationships just aren't as good as they used to be. So I think men
Yeah,
are
they're
starting to
different.
slowly stop chasing women because it's become pointless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And especially since like divorce is so much more in benefit for women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's an incentive. It's a come up. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like so that's some of these women's strategies.
Yeah.
Get married and take it. Woo!
Yeah.
Got it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And what does a man get? Half his shit taken, no rights to see his kid type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
that has changed. That has
What you mean?
changed. There's a lot of in Connecticut especially, they're very pro father rights.
Hmm.
And I think it's they also it's the financial part of it. Like if you're a man, you make more, you're definitely sometimes getting more rights than the female. It's definitely
Hmm.
switched a lot. It depends on the state.
Still fucked up.
Yeah, I think
This
there's
whole
a lot
thing.
of things. I have friends who made more money than their husbands and got divorced and have to pay alimony to them. So it definitely
That's my
is
next mission. Let's
that
get it.
that is definitely like flip-flopped for sure. And I see a lot of these celebrities who married, just the regular people, and now they're getting paid out, after they get divorced, and they're getting millions of dollars. I mean, it's definitely flipped. But I think it needs to be, that's why I don't, the marriage part of it, it's like that's part of it. Like it's called a prenup. Like you need to
I might
establish
not
these
just get married. I
things.
think it would just be like a backdoor. We would just put a
Yeah.
handshake on that shit. Like, hey,
Yeah.
we set.
Your common law
Okay.
marriage.
That's right.
Common law
That's right. We ain't
marriage.
signing nothing. We could have
No.
a ceremony. We could bring our fame. I'm not
Yeah.
signing shit.
Yeah.
Get
Well,
out of
it's,
here.
you have your own business. I have my own business. I feel like you have to protect that regardless of how much you're making or what,
Exactly.
what that it looks like or how much that's worth.
Exactly.
You absolutely, if you were to get married, have to have a prenup
I know.
because that you could end up making
But I've
more.
heard stories of people being able to get through the prenup. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, but it's tough. It's tough. And you end up spending hundreds of $1,000s just to get through that prenup, and it's not worth it. And I think that that's why it's so important to have a prenup or or a postnup too. Like you may have to have both at this point.
that's the first time I
I
ever heard
mean,
that. What, a
yeah.
postnup? What the fuck
Postnup.
is that?
There's a prenup and a postnup. I think it's
Postnup,
like
postnup clarity.
yeah, like after a certain amount of years. Like my I have a family member who's they're married, and she, after 5 years being married, she could start collecting a certain amount of alimony, right?
After 5 years
After
of being
five
married.
years. So like she couldn't, if she got divorced under 5 years, she wasn't getting anything, right?
Wait, what?
Yeah. So you can put stipulations in those orders.
So it's like at year 5, I start treating you like my wife.
So year 5, if you're not if you made it to year 5 in your marriage, if you were to get divorced that year and
Achievement
moving
unlocked.
forward, you get alimony, you know?
They start paying your wife a month?
No, if you were to get divorced.
Oh,
So like if they were to get divorced on year 3,
yeah.
she would not be able to get alimony.
Oh,
If they were to get divorced at year 5, she can now collect
that
alimony.
sounds stupid as shit.
But there's stipulations, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
are you in this for the marriage? Or are you in this for the money?
Right.
And that's the
But that doesn't mean shit. They'll just wait it out. If they're in them for the money, it just means that they're more waiting
then
for
you
the
have the
money.
stipulation if you cheat, there's no alimony. I know someone that his wife cheated on him and went into the courthouse and they had a prenup and everything. The judge was like, nope, sorry, you cheated on him. Like, you get nothing. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. There's so many stipulations that you can put in things now.
My shit will be for all of eternity.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying? At any point,
You
I don't
don't
care if
get
we're 40
anything.
years in, you ain't getting shit. You know what I'm
Or
saying?
you can wait. Like a friend of mine, she got divorced. She waived alimony. She waived alimony and mediation. And the reason why she did that was because she just didn't want to deal with him anymore. She was like, he cheated on her. She gave him the house. She waived alimony. She moved into a different house. And
See, that breaks my fucking heart.
you know, and she gets chump change of child support, but she has a great business. She met a great man.
But why get married just to get divorced? That
So
sucks.
she didn't go into the marriage wanting to get divorced. They were together for over a decade. He cheated on her with somebody else and was like, I'm done with you and I want to be with this other person.
And that's exactly why I don't chase.
Yeah.
Because even when you have your wife, you know what I'm saying? Like, flip flop. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you never know what people decide to do.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking crazy to
But
me.
you know what? It was such a blessing in disguise because she wasn't allowed to go to the gym. She wasn't allowed to do things for herself. She wasn't allowed to like get her nails done. There's just the crazy things. Like she couldn't eat certain like she wasn't allowed to eat strawberries or some. There was like some weird shit that would happen. Like, and you're just like,
That sounds
why
crazy.
are you with this? Like, I'm like, I don't want to judge, but like, this is something I would never do.
Girl,
You know
who
what I'm
needs
saying?
strawberries?
Yeah, like there was just things that were happening, and you're just like, I'm so glad that you're not with that person anymore. And then he ended up hating me because I called him bald, but you know he is.
But he's bald.
He is bald. So there we are.
How dare you?
Yeah, that's what it was.
My name is like, it's like calling me by my name. How dare you?
How dare you? Yeah, and you know she's moved on. She has a great partner, and she's happy, and she's thriving. And I feel like that it just was meant to happen. And she would come and work out with me, and she would cry. Like she would walk into the gym and just cry, and you're like, "Are we working out today, or are we crying? I'm not really sure what's happening here."
We're doing both.
And so she would cry. She would just lift and cry, lift and cry, lift and cry. This was
Wow,
like
that girl is dedicated.
This was months, and lost 60 pounds.
Let's go.
And one day she just stopped crying, and
Damn.
that was it.
That's kind of a nice little story.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta ask her to come on here because she'll definitely tell you some crazy shit.
One day she just stopped crying. That's the name of her episode.
One day she just stopped crying.
That's
Yeah.
kind of powerful. That
Yeah.
word. Yeah.
And the crazy part about that was too, she looked at me and envied me for, what I've gotten to where I am with my body and like just, certain aspects about me. She'd be like, why do you're so beautiful. She would say things. And I would be like, I envy you for the fact that you not only like left this relationship, right? This marriage for so long, but she started dating, and it was like she could serial date, and I could never do that. I'm like, how? Like she'd be like, oh, I'm going on a date with this person, and and then she'd be like, yeah, I really like him, and then the next day she'd be like, no, don't like him, it's over, I blocked him, and that was it. She could just get over things so quickly. She was that type of person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, she got over a 13-year marriage in a few months. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was like dating, and I was just like envied her on that. Like, how is your brain wired in that way? Like she was right on the dating apps like Hinge, Bumble, and like just
Because she was cheating beforehand. That's hard.
no, she was very dedicated to her husband, very dedicated.
Man, fucked it up.
Yeah, and he's still with the girl that cheated on her with, but whatever.
Crazy.
There's always a karma in that aspect, I don't know karma. Interesting about that, like. I always, in my situation, I was like, I want karma against these people. Like, I want karma against this person. Like,
Ooh,
you know what I'm
speaking
saying?
evil into their
And you're
lives.
like, and then I'm like, it's not my path. I'm never going to have closure in the aspect of him or what has happened to me, right? Like in that aspect, like that stuff was supposed to happen, right? And it's not karma. It's like he has to face that in his life in some sort of way on his path
Hmm.
at some time. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And that's not going to have anything to do with me. But he will face how he's treated me or the things that he's done.
You never know.
In
And I wouldn't hope for that day. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not saying
Because
I'm hoping for it. I'm saying there will things that will happen that you know, will not, he's already not on his path, I believe. But like, you have to answer for the things that you've done to people in your lifetime in some aspect. You know what I'm saying?
that's Judgment Day
Yeah.
when we die,
Yeah. It could be that.
and it's
Could
time
be,
to
could be
determine
that,
whether we go to heaven or hell.
could be that. Could be in another relationship where he gets hurt the way I was hurt. Could be that. Could be that part of his learning. I feel like it's more of a learning experience. Like that could be his part of, his karma in that kind of sense.
Yeah.
You just never know.
You never know. For all you know, he might
Yeah.
live his days off in peace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, with the people
Like
he has around him, for sure.
that's why we shouldn't
No
compare.
accountability. Yeah.
We can't compare
Yeah.
how people are gonna live their lives,
Yeah.
and like hope for an apology that may never come.
No,
In essence, I'm not trying.
I will never get an apology. I will
Right.
never get accountability, and I will never get like a honest, like human type interaction with him, and a compassionate
Right.
conversation. That will never happen.
Right.
Um,
That's why I like bringing God into the picture too,
yeah.
because what good is gaining the world if you lose your entire soul?
Yeah.
Right. So that's like a passage in the Bible.
Yeah.
And you see all these people out here with wealth,
Yeah.
crazy amount of riches, can do whatever they want,
Yeah.
but they're ugly people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Terrible people. And they may have everything in this world. Everything. Think
But
about
do
it.
they? But do
They have
they?
nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? And at the
Yeah.
time of Judgment Day,
Yeah.
they'll cease to exist.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the people who have lived righteously, who
Yeah.
may not on the face value have had, as much, or maybe they do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You never know how, like, God works in
Yeah.
remarkable ways. But regardless, they have eternity,
Mm-hmm.
peace. You know what I mean? We're just in a blink.
Yeah.
Imagine eternity of peace, eternity of no sorrows,
Yeah.
where everyone knows each other, and we're just enjoying, like,
Yeah.
whatever there is. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm waiting on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not trying to see, oh, this person has such a grand life. Look at all the money, the wealth, the women.
Yeah.
They got everything. Oh my God, do they?
They don't.
You know what I mean?
They don't.
So we don't even focus on this life.
Yeah. And I think too, in that my healing experience with the whole situation and coming to terms with it, had I gotten that compassionate response, like had I gotten that apology or that compassionate response, would I still have been attached to this person? Would I have just accepted that and been like, okay, let's do this all over again, kind of thing.
Possibly.
And I think that was like a reality. Like, you don't, God's not giving you that because you
Right.
gotta break away from that cycle because you're
Right.
just gonna be back on that train again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's gonna be.
That's right.
That's
right.
It's like, the intimacy isn't even great. So why are we going back to that part of it? You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
It's crazy how that works.
God disciplines those he loves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's through that slap in the face that it feels like
Yeah.
that you become a bit wiser. And
It's
ultimately you start to live better in more accordance to what he sees as valuable.
It's true.
That gains you an eternity rather than just like living your life on some shit and then damning yourself,
Yep.
because of the immediate gratification.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? Like that leads people to stray like crazy,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. It's true.
Yeah.
That immediate gratification.
That's it. That's it. So I think I want to get some, like, maybe some pointers perhaps, is like
Yeah.
any learning lessons or any like takeaways, anything that you think someone, who may have listened to your story, or maybe not even like anything related to what you shared today, but some wisdom, some words of direction, some encouragement, maybe something to little cat.
I feel like you got to stick to your path and your purpose, and that is what you need to focus on. And
Yes.
you're going to be on that train of path and purpose, and then you're going to get distracted.
Oof.
And these types of relationships and traumas and these things are distractions. Like,
So true.
it's like the devil trying to distract you away from what
A
is
hundred
your
percent.
meant for you, you know. And everybody who's listening to this might not believe in God and faith or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But it's my experience that, like, this is the devil being like, hey, come here. You know what I'm
Oof.
saying? Like,
I rebuke
you
that.
know, get off the train for a second and let's play. You know?
Mm-mm.
And that is just my experience. Like, it's like I got back on the train on September 28th, and I was like, I'm 2025, and I was like, I'm not looking back. We're
That's
staying
what's
on
up.
it. So that would be my advice.
Solid. Fuck with
Right?
it.
Right?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
solid.
Yeah.
Boom. All
Yeah.
right. Perfect. So that was a lovely episode
Yes.
of the Perspective Podcast. Kat, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming on the show.
I appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah, it was a good one. So we're gonna
Yeah.
link her socials down below, guys. If you want to follow along, click the links down below and make sure you subscribe. Comment any questions that you want to ask, either her, me, anything, and we'll see you in the next one.
That's good. Thank you.
Bow.